Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
How's your day going?
Yeah, good.
Good?
Oh, so horrible.
Is it the first time that you see these images?
Yes.
Yes. And how does it make you feel?
Sick with it. It's horrible.
It's horrible, no? Do you think it's necessary in this day and age to kill animals to eat, to survive?
We are meat eaters.
All right. Well, most people are, so. Yeah?
But, yeah. We tend to try and eat animals that have been,
Taken care of?
yeah.
All right.
But obviously the way they're killed, we still don't really know.
Do you think there's a good way to kill them?
Probably not.
Probably not. So you agree that when you see labels like humane slaughter, RSPCA approved, etc., they're just marketing tactics?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. And you mentioned that you try to eat animals that are well taken care of.
Yeah.
Do you think that if an animal has had a good life, it gives us the right to take that life away from them? Because the way I see it is, if an animal is having a good life, like I've seen all around Ireland here, a lot of cows just enjoying nature.
Yes.
Don't you think that only gives them more interest in continuing their life?
Well, all the cows that you see in the fields wouldn't have been born in the first place if it hadn't been bred.
That's true. That's true. That's really true.
And animals eat animals, don't they?
Animals do eat animals.
And we're evolved to eat animals. I think it's normal and natural to eat meat.
I would challenge that, because animals that eat animals don't really have another option. So a lion would not survive on a plant-based diet.
No.
You know?
Yeah.
And as you said, these animals are born because we inseminated artificially their mothers. So they do exist because of us. However, breeding someone into existence does not give us the right to do harm onto them. So for example, in dog fighting business, they breed dogs.
Yeah.
But dog fighting owners, they would never give the excuse of, well, if it wasn't for us, they wouldn't be alive.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the way I see it. Just because we have bred them into existence, I think if we've done that already, maybe we should take the responsibility on giving them a good life and their right to that life.
Yeah.
I don't think personally that bringing someone into existence means we own their life and have the right to take away at any moment, as long as we have another option. I'm not talking about survival situation, which is completely different.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a sort of halfway, there's a halfway point which is reasonable. I mean, if you've seen films of animals killing animals, that's pretty horrific as well.
It is. But as I said before, these animals don't really have another option. A lion has to eat a zebra or a gazelle, but 70% of the animals are herbivores anyway. It's not the majority of the animals that kill animals, but those who do it because they don't have the option. Now, in our case, and the reason we do feel bad when we see these images is because we are well aware of the fact that we have another option. So the question is, if it's not necessary to continue killing animals, why continue? Most people who we talk to, I just talked to a young man and I said, how do you feel when you see it? He said a very important word. He said guilty, because he's aware that it's a demand and supply. And if it was our need, we would not feel guilty. A lion never feels guilty when they're eating an animal, because they're very much aware that they did not have another choice. And we wouldn't probably feel guilty if we were in survival situation and we had to kill animals. Yeah.
Yeah, but we're so, our whole life is so far away from that situation anyway.
Yeah. We're not in survival situation.
Do you know who made your jacket? Do you know who made your hat? If you're wearing a hat, or your shoes?
Yeah.
Do you know where they came from?
I try my best to buy from ethical sources or second-hand shops to not contribute. But even if I didn't, all right, it's possible to care for more than one thing at the same time. So personally, for example, I come from Lebanon. I do care about what's happening in the Middle East, and I do care about animals as well. And if I care about animals, it doesn't mean I'm not aware of or trying to help in other causes as well.
But, what I'm saying is we're so far removed from that, primitive man.
Oh yeah, I agree.
You would sanction to kill an animal.
I agree.
But I mean, do you own a phone?
Sorry?
Do you own a phone?
I do.
Yeah. Who made the phone?
Yeah.
how was all the materials for that phone
But we
sourced,
we certainly agree that in this society it's not very easy, let's say, to live without a phone. I'm sure we agree with that, right? But it is very easy to just buy plant-based products instead of dead animals. So it comes down to like simple choices that we make in our everyday lives. I'm not buying a phone 3 times a day, you know, but we are killing animals at least 3 times a day. And then that's
well, somebody's buying phones 3 times a day. Somebody's buying phones millions of times a day, aren't they?
Well,
I mean, what I'm saying is it's very easy to pick one aspect,
of course,
and see the problems with the production or the manufacture or whatever it is, but unfortunately our entire society is built on not only
injustice, exploitation.
So everything we do.
All right.
So it's I mean, fine. You might have a point about the production of meat, and in actual fact, we embrace that. We eat meat, but we don't eat much meat, and we eat locally produced meat.
All right.
But there are so many other things that
there are.
So.
But do you think the fact that there are other problems is, let's say, a gateway for us to continue doing this? For example,
but I might give something else a higher priority.
And I will listen to it. Yeah. And if it's easy for me to change, I will do it. So I'll give you.
So make you make a valid point.
Yeah.
And that's fair enough. So,
do you think you'd ever consider yourself into going vegan?
Possibly.
Possibly. And
but I mean, fundamentally, I don't think it's wrong to eat meat.
Right? Why not?
Well, because I think we're evolved to eat meat. I mean, we have teeth that are
the canines.
To eat meat.
I'll tell you something about our canines.
Oh no, God! You've heard every argument.
Of course.
You've got an argument ready for it.
No, I wouldn't call it an argument. I would call it information, because I think arguments are based on opinion, and I know completely. I'm completely aware where you're coming from, because I was there as well.
I mean, an argument in the scientific sense.
Yeah, all right. So our canines are actually nothing that would ever give us the natural ability to, let's say, hold a cow and bite the cow. If we bite a cow or a pig, we will tickle them. But even if canines were, let's say, a sign that we should be killing animals, in the land animals world, the biggest canines belong to herbivores, the hippos, the rhinos. But they don't eat animals. So the and this is why I looked into it, and that's why I know the information. The scientific role, or like the biological role, I guess that's the word, of canines is to hold food in a position. And that food could be an animal or a fruit. So the fact that we have canines doesn't really mean we have to eat animals, And when we look at our hands, I don't have claws like an omnivore or a carnivore.
But a primate, say, a primate could live an entirely vegetarian lifestyle, or they could eat meat. And
primates.
They do primates eat each other. Primates, cannibalize their,
of course,
their same species sometimes. So,
would you agree that we are an evolved version of primates?
Probably.
Yes. So if we have evolved, do you not think that with that evolution comes a certain responsibility to take care of other animals?
Well, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah. So let's say if I were to bring a dog here.
Well, you can make an argument, and you wouldn't be wrong necessarily, but it is complicated.
Yeah.
And the extreme end of it that you're showing videos of. Who would stand up and defend it? Nobody, probably.
Of course.
Even the most hardened meat eater.
I talked to a farmer 2 days ago in Galway who thanked me for what we're doing, because he, even as a farmer, he's aware that this is wrong.
Yeah.
And obviously we don't talk to farmers in a condescending way, because they are just as conditioned as we were before we were vegan. They are just born in a society where this exists, or into a family where that was the business, and they're just continuing. So when we look at it, we know it's wrong, because in our heart something tells us this is not okay. Yeah. And the fact that our instinct tells us it's not okay is the biggest proof that we're not made to kill animals. We are a species that has a lot of empathy, and we like to help animals that are in, or like that are suffering, let's say.
And you would want to maltreat them, yeah.
Of course. So if I were to bring a dog, let's say here, and in front of everyone, if I was to slit that dog's throat, a lot of people would physically,
outcry, yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
And if I were to bring a pig, the same thing would happen. But if I did that same thing behind walls, people would pay me for it. That's the level of conditioning that we have arrived to in this society. And all we ask as vegans is to make that click back into seeing animals as beings that are here with us and not for us. Because they've done nothing to hurt us. They're just living beings that have their interest in continuing their life and being with their families most of the time and being loved and loving. And I think that's the least we owe as a species that has so much power, to take responsibility and use that power to take care of them instead of exploiting them, while at the same time completely destroying our planet. Because the animal agriculture industry is the #1 cause of deforestation, greenhouse gas emissions, soil erosion, water depletion. So we're causing so much suffering on the planet. We're killing and exploiting so many animals every single day. It's actually 73,000 animals that we kill every single second. So since I started talking to you, I don't even know if it has reached and past the millions as well.
Well, I mean, you know, we're part way there anyway. So
yeah,
we don't. You know, we're not going to put up. We're not going to be the most difficult people you talk to.
Yeah.
Mind you, probably the most difficult people wouldn't engage with you in the first place. But,
yeah, that's true. So then, you earlier said when I asked you, do you think there's a possibility that do you consider going vegan? You said possibly. Quickly thinking, do you think there's anything that would stop you? Like if you think about it quickly, what do you think could be a hindrance? Is it the habit or?
Yeah, it's probably. There's probably a certain amount of habit and taste and everything else. I mean, our daughter was vegan for many years, but she became unwell, so she had to go at least vegetarian.
Okay.
But, so when she was around, you know, we cooked vegan, and people would say, "Oh, that's a really difficult diet," and we embraced it. We said, "No, it's not. You can." You know, we became quite creative, and there's vegan restaurants that we love in where we live, you know, and we would happily go to one of those.
Yeah.
You know, rather
the thing is, there's 75,000 edible plants, and we evolve our diet around 5 dead animals and what comes out of their bodies.
Yeah.
A vegan diet is not, actually a non-vegan diet is much more limited than a vegan diet.
Yeah.
So it is a habit at the end, and it is a society conditioning that we have to change, but just because we have the habit doesn't mean we shouldn't try our best.
Definitely,
you know.
I agree.
So if I gave you this card, there's a lot of documentaries you could watch, and you mentioned your daughter was vegan, but she became unwell.
Yes.
I will tell you, there's no, scientifically speaking, there's no health condition that would stop anyone from being vegan.
No,
so maybe she wasn't eating balanced.
She wasn't eating.
That's the thing.
No, she wasn't, and because she wasn't in the mindset to be able to do that.
All right.
I mean, she agrees with absolutely all your arguments and would you know, say them to us. But because she couldn't engage enough herself in feeding herself properly, she became unwell, and she really.
That's the thing. The world's biggest nutrition centers have already confirmed that a balanced vegan diet is enough to get all the nutrients at all stages of life, including pregnancy and infancy.
Yes.
But we do have to eat balanced.
Yes.
And that's why we give it out this information, because we also have documentaries about our health.
Okay.
We want people to know what they're doing, because at the end it is for the environment and the animals and our health.
Yeah.
Veganism itself is for the animals, but if we can help our health as well and the environment, why not?
Definitely.
So Forks Over Knives and What the Health are about health, and then Cowspiracy, the last one, is an amazing documentary about the environment, and then the rest are ethical sides of veganism, speeches and talks about it.
Okay.
And I'll give you one more thing. This website here called Vegan 22, you sign up on the website, and the first 22 days that you're vegan, you get a personal mentor and nutritionist that will help you out with everything you need for free. So that means like motivation, recipes, nutrition questions. So if your daughter wants to also do it again, she can explain what happened to her, and they will help her out. Last year they helped 120,000 people do it completely for free.
Wow.
So it's really great.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll look into it?
Possibly.
Possibly? You're still at possibly?
I
You'll look into it, yeah?
Yeah, I will. And
You will.
To help her as well, you know.
Yeah. All right. It will be really great if you do. Yeah. It's the least we the animals deserve. Right? All right.
All right, you are. Well,
Okay.
you're very eloquent, very articulate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Have a good day.
Okay.
Bye bye.